Alright, welcome Bug Don't Know Shit. It's another beautiful day in Texas, beautiful day in the garage. Time to get some work done. We are working on the steering column. There are some videos on this, vintage Thunderbird, exit 45, this exact steering column. So I'm gonna go through it with you again. But like I said, their videos are good. I don't think I'll run across anything different than they've already covered. But I'm just going through it, making videos. A lot of kudos to them because watching their videos will save me a lot of time and a lot of headache and a lot of just general questions. Like I said, between those two, of course, vintage Thunderbird, that guy's the Thunderbird expert, Thunderbird whisperer, guru, whatever. And exit 45, he's a very smart guy, good talented, car restorer, I guess we would say, mechanic. I don't know what you call people like us, but yeah, he's good. So he's like me though, first time going through these things, and you're gonna run into headaches, gonna run into the order of operations, I guess we talk about some. Definitely when you're putting things back together. Sometimes when you're taking things apart, you do things before you need to and might cause a little issue here or there. But I'm pretty sure I got a handle on it. I've got to take this connector off to get this out, to be able to get this off, because it's all connected to this signal switch, blinker switch, whatever you want to call it. That's all got to come out with the wiring harness. So yeah, they don't make it where you can disconnect it up here and pull it out that way. So I got to pull this connector off, which could break while I'm doing it. I'm very aware that that could happen, probably will happen. And then I'll probably be redoing a connector. So but yeah, I need to get it apart. My bushing, no existy. So that will cause shift problems. I think it could cause problems with this neutral safety switch, which is bad. Or it wasn't connected, and there were little jumpers in the connector to bypass it, basically, which is not safe, especially with kid drivers. Any driver can make the mistake of starting the car while it's in drive or reverse, and which could be really bad. But definitely with a kid, I want to make sure that the car cannot start when it's in reverse or drive, or just when I'm working on it. Like, you don't want to be sitting in front of it and have your buddy in the hey, crank it up, and bloop, it's, yeah, not good. So of course, most of the time I think I will have the wheels at least chocked and probably jacked up while I'm tinkering, because there's no telling, at least until it's been fired up a few times and I've tested the transmission. And yeah, I'll definitely have the wheels in the air or not on at all, or something to that extent, first few times we crank this baby. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna get this thing apart and we will get started. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and leave some comments. Would love to hear from you. Yep, thanks for watching. Well, like everything else, just kind of start taking stuff off and work your way through it. This is for the sliding mechanism, just a little Phillips head screw, not a little one, big one. And it holds this clamp down, clamps it in place. Just 2 bolts. And that did not come apart like I thought it would. So I've got to figure out how to get that off. I think to get that off, I've got to get this off, which, yeah, nut, couple of two nuts down there. Yeah, I think get this piece off, should come off, and you should, when it comes off, I think you pull the wiring harness out with it, and then looks like there's a couple of bolts down in there, and I should be able to get this piece off. Yeah, just a little round top nut, two of them. Yep. Now I'll feed the wiring harness through here. You see there's a hole where you could slide this through, but you're not getting that through it. This is one of those things where we talked about sometimes it's better just to leave stuff alone and not repair things when you have to make those choices. And I mean, this has to be repaired. I'm not saying it doesn't. This is not supposed to move like that. So at the very, and I do have this bushing coming, but it goes down here. And this one, I don't even think it is in there at all. I'll look when I pull this out. But basically what I'm saying is I am going to repair this. I know my neutral safety switch, at the very least, something is not quite correct with it for some reason. This tube has to be repaired. I had the steering wheel shaft actually had a bushing that was bad up here, which I have. I don't have to take it apart to fix that. But this, and like I said, you can fix that in the car. I watched a vintage Thunderbird video where he did, but so I mean, I guess what I'm saying is I'm obviously not going to wait and put it in the car and then fix it, but don't necessarily have to take this whole thing apart to repair this. I think you can just remove a couple of these things, slide it out a little bit, put it on, and button it back up. But I think the best thing to do would be to take it all apart and fix it. Now, the thing that stopped me last night was this. Long story short, I'm going to try to get that connector off. My plan is just kind of lightly clamp this in the vise and tap those out with a punch. That is my plan. I have a feeling I'm going to end up redoing this connector when I get done with it. I've got to figure out if this neutral safety switch, there's something, for some reason it was bypassed, which we talked about is super not safe. I mean, yeah, it'll get you down the road, but not a good idea. And like I said before, we don't know if it's the switch or the connector, or it may have just been the fact that this was wore out and it wasn't contacting correctly. You know, this ship linkage might have, although, you know, I mean, it looks like it should have still worked, but you know, you never know. It could have been causing problems and not engaging just right. So could be that that's all it is. Hopefully. We will see. That's one thing though that we will have to figure out. I know two of them are for the ignition and two I believe are the reverse lights. I think probably these two. Because I'm thinking when it's fully engaged, I would tell you it's in park. And reverse is next. That's what I think. I don't know. I'm just going to lightly clamp this in. Try to tap these out with a like roll pin hole punch or something of that nature. See how this works. This so far, other than the one, looked like it worked. Probably should have used this lubricant first. That I had sitting right here. That I probably bought for shit like this. That I didn't even use. Because I'm smart like that. There we go. And the little kits. Now they're still there. It may work, probably not. We will cross that bridge when we get to it, thanks to saying. So it is out. Now I'm just going to have to pull this sleeve off of it. And pull this wire through. Do this the same way, one wire at a time. I don't know, maybe they slide right in there, no problem. Looks like it's not gonna be fun. Let's just try one, see. Because you're gonna have to do them one at a time, I think. Yeah, that's not gonna be fun. Okay, well, I guess it follows a path, so maybe it won't be too bad, at least not for one wire. And then, let's see, we got this guy. It's my light for, I guess it's called Prindle. I'm gonna get this out. There were some little T-bolts which you need to keep these, and I think we will be cussing these later when we try to reinstall them, apparently. And this one should come off, but I'm just gonna wait till I can slide it off. The ones I've seen before, I thought on vintage Thunderbirds, his just came off in two pieces, which there is no easy way to get. Even if you took that off, yeah, it's like the two pieces are connected to these, and yeah, it's all sandwiched together. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get this off and then slide it. So I gotta figure out how to get that sucker off. I think it's a nut right there. Bolt, I should say. It's like a 7/16. Let's see. It's 3/8. No wonder. I was about to say, like, surely. Yeah, the 7/16 socket will not go in it. 3/8 has this taper. Will allow it to go in it. And come on, baby. That'll be fun to put back in. And that lets you pull this off. So it's just this one nut right here, little bitty guy, 3/8 head. And you got that off. I'm gonna have to clean that up. Spray paint all this. Paint it. But there was not a bushing at all in here. And that's interesting. That's kind of, I don't know if that's supposed to be like that, but you see something's been digging in there. Probably, I'm thinking, since this is off-centered, probably hitting on, there's a screw right there. That's definitely what that was. Can you see that? Right here. So what I'm looking at is this tube. You can see it's been riding on something for years. And that's about where it sits in there. There is a screw that goes in there, bolt. Since this thing was off centered, I think it's just been sitting there riding on that for who knows how long. So definitely something needed to be done here. This is what I was wanting to show y'all and look at. So these are where my neutral safety switch goes, and you can see they just put jumpers in there to bypass these. Well, I mean, if these jumpers work, then this must work. Right, must get contact through them. Although I'm not, like if one of them's reverse light, would that not leave your reverse light on all the time, doing it like that? I don't know. But maybe the reverse lights just didn't work and they didn't know which ones were which, and you know, they just put jumpers. That's the thing, you have no idea. So all you can do is kind of just plug it back up and see what happens. Good morning. Welcome to But Don't Know Shit. It is another beautiful day in Texas, and I'm back home. Got home yesterday. Waking up today, first day home that I'm not traveling. And man, I come home to this beautiful blue skies, gorgeous day. It's like, I don't know, 60, 55, a little windy, a little chilly actually. Although I am still in shorts and flip-flops, but trying to keep my summer attire going one more day. I mean, I could definitely have some pants and socks on, probably would make more sense. And I may go do that in a minute when I get to work. Speaking of, what are we working on today? I gotta figure that out again. Like every time I leave, I come home and I'm like, what was I working on? Pretty obvious what I was working on was steering wheel column. Got everything painted, parts that needed, got them clear coated. Good as it's gonna get. It's I think it's gonna look pretty good when it's all put together. Mine's just black, so it's not that big of a deal. Got all my other little spare parts. I did get my little bushing in, which is kind of deformed. I did notice in some of the old other people's videos, finished Thunderbird mainly, he had to actually cut his. Mine actually came split already. Guess it doesn't matter. I mean, that's what you have to do anyway. Do not have my ball bearings, the little contact brass balls for my neutral safety switch yet. I did watch a video. Exit 45 was having issues with his, and he's doing probably what I should do and just buying a new one, this guy. But I think it will work. So I was just sitting here messing with my neutral safety switch that I had planned on rebuilding, right? This guy. Anyway, I was sliding this along, kind of messing with it. One thing, I lost the spring, which it is somewhere. Okay, wheel. Going in the bucket for now. Gonna order a new one. I really didn't want to, but yeah, it doesn't work without that spring. And I will find that spring one day. I have no doubt. Okay, before I get started, I'm just checking this light bulb that goes on the Prindle indicator. Real simple. Got a contact back there. I got my negative side on. The lead to it, your positive. See, it works just fine. So now we know that the bulb and this wire do work. So we don't have to worry about that. That is done. All right, so this here, just gonna grease it up real good. I'm just using a multi-purpose synthetic grease. I think it will be fine for what we're doing Yeah, so basically trying to get these two shoved down into there to where it locks in place, and then we'll kind of shove the whole tube down in place. Okay, that, and you see now, compared to the video when I was taking this apart, there's no play in here now. So now we have to put this centering plate in, which is pretty self-explanatory. It slides over that kind of key slot right there, and then there's another upset on this side of the tube. You see right there that it will spin around and slide over that next. Maybe a little easier said than done. As always, there we go. Okay, and then it just slides down there, and I think this thing kind of just locks into place. Well, so that's the easy part. Pretty sure this is supposed to, you see there's 3 tabs. Pretty sure it's supposed to stay on this side of the tabs, otherwise it could slide all the way down the tube. But yeah, let me just leave that right there. I also added I guess this pivot bracket, greased it up a little bit. Need to put the nut on it. Let me find a nut to fit that and put that little guy up, and then I think we will start working on, yeah, these things here. I believe this goes on next, and then I think the turn signal switch and Prindle. Okay, so just a few things I've done. I've got my Prindle on. See it screwed in there. Got my light bulb in place. Actually, I need to tighten that down a little. That is still loose. I've got my little slide adjustment bracket on. Got my neutral safety switch lever on, and I've got this nut on. I need to tighten that down. And then I think we're going to be ready to put the shift tube on. Put the screw in that locks it in place, or kind of locks this together with the inner tube, and then it all kind of rotates around this. So just slowly piecing this back together. It's taking longer than I thought. A lot of it is just finding the right screws where they go. So maybe when you're taking it apart, you might want to take the time to kind of organize and label things, which I didn't do. I just threw them all in a bin and didn't do a good job at that apparently, because I'm missing some screws. Okay, a couple things. Watching my old video, mine, I did realize these two halves I couldn't get apart, or I didn't want to take apart. So this had to go on here before this. So that is how I took it off. I took this off, then slid this off. So good thing I watched my old video, or else I would have been fighting this, trying to figure out how to get it back on. Probably would have been taking stuff apart, but you can see there now I got my bolt hole lined up, and I did find this little guy. It's a 3/8 head, probably 5/16 thread, I'm thinking, and it will screw on in there, pretty sure. But yeah, that's how I got it out. Mine was a hex head. I have seen some that were like a big Phillips head, but the one I took out, this is the socket I used. I verified that with video. So I will tighten this down, and then this will be in place. And my paint job did not hold up very well. Yep, let me continue on. Get that. I had some tar in there to help hold it into my socket so I didn't drop it. So, yep, there it is. I'm gonna tighten it just a little bit more with both hands, but that is done, and I think we can start putting our turn signal switch in here, feeding the wires, doing all that jazz, and trying to get this thing completely put back together. I think this is the tricky part, where there's the little T-bolts. I gotta remember exactly where they go. See what I got going on. Finishing up the steering column. It hasn't been that bad. Of course, I have some videos, vintage Thunderbird, exit 45, some guys to watch that have gone down this path, taken a lot of the hard work out of it for me. Of course, Nick Pepe could probably put one of these together in his sleep, and his videos are great, very informational. Is that a word? Very informative. Maybe that's a better word. They're good, especially if you're working on a Thunderbird. Like, he is the guy to watch. I mean, you can see what I got going on here. I got some wires. I got them run. I gotta feed them through this tube in a minute. I gotta figure out exactly where this go. I mean, it goes there, but like in relation back and forth. But I'm pretty much got this thing together. I gotta remember where this guy went. I don't know, somewhere. It was attached to this though. This piece I know goes on the bottom of that. And yeah, just a few little things. And then get the wires in. Then I gotta see if my little pins will reattach in this connector. And if they don't, then I'm gonna have to make a new connector. Okay, just show y'all my method, pulling these wires through. I was able to get, I think, 5 of them without doing any fishing. Go in pretty easy. After that, I couldn't get the rest to go through. They kept, you know, binding up in here. So what I'm doing now is pushing the longest one I have back, which is this yellow one. Push it to about right there, and then tape the next wire to it. I got a little bit of grease on it just to help lubricate it up inside there a little bit. And then I pull it through till I see my tape. There it is. Yep, so then I'll undo that, pull it all the way through, and back this yellow wire back out again and grab the next one. And there you have it. All the wires are through. Now I got to figure out how to get these little T-bolts locked in and get this attached to the hub there, and I think that's pretty much it. Get that locked on, screw the blinker switch down, and kind of think then it's ready to go back in the car, except, well, got to put the switch back together, which that'll be fun. Okay, I got those T-nuts, first shot, it went right on, no problem whatsoever. Not really. They are a little bit of a bitch, and you know, you gotta like barely thread the nut on them so that they hang low enough to catch. Well, the nuts sometimes back off, and then the bolt falls down in there. You gotta take it back off and dump it out. And you do that 2 or 3 times, and then it'll finally work. Basically, is how that works out. But I got it finally. Everything's lined up. It's good. So now, before I fasten this down, got to get the steering wheel shaft slid down in there. That's this guy. I've got my little rubber bushing, grommet, whatever, bearing sleeve, I guess you'd call it. I don't know what you'd call it thing. But you see it kind of encapsulates the bearing. And this is the same bearing. I didn't change it out. It is, I mean, it's in good shape. It was a little tight when I took it out, but greased it up, oiled it up. It spins very well. So I did grease this up just for rust preventative. It's not, other than this bearing, you know, it's not turning on anything. It was kind of surface rusty, so, and I didn't want to paint it. It doesn't make sense to paint it, so just wiped it down with some grease. So should keep it at least somewhat rust-free for a long time to come. All right, I am done, I think. Got my little mounting bracket buttoned back up. Got my steering wheel shaft in. Got my blinker switch screwed down and the retaining plate on it. And this is just snug, but I can move it. I've got everything else, my wiring harness, my sleeve slid up in there, the original two clips that came on it. And so all I've got to do now, which I didn't take my time when I pulled these out and try to figure out how to actually get them to release, but you can see there, all my tabs look like that. So these are basically no bueno. So I have to cut these off. I'll cut them as close as I can and put a new plug on it. All right, I bought this kit a long time ago, this JRReady connectors. These are some 8-pin connectors. I bought these, and they come with, these are the mill side. You have to buy this expensive crimping tool, and I don't remember how much this was, but it was not cheap. And you can pretty much only use them for these kind of connectors, their own style connectors. I was looking at this, and you know, these are 8-pin, but I have them. I have like 6 of them of these sets, and I have the crimping tools. I don't know why I bought the crap. I never used it, but here we are. So I know I got 10 wires here, but my plan is I'm going to do 8, and then these two are my horn wires, so I'm going to do them separate. Probably we'll just use maybe like these kind of connectors. I'm thinking probably what I'm going to do, just use these. Yeah, not going back factory obviously, because I messed up the other plug, but it's going to be close and it'll be a good plug. I think these are pretty high quality plugs. So anyway, let me keep going. This tool is really easy to use. You just slide those on there, slide that down in there like that, and it just kind of sits, and you can actually hold the wire in place while you're crimping it. Yeah, it's very easy, one hand, and it makes a really good crimp. Okay, it took me a minute to figure these plugs out and actually watching some videos. So these are JRReady. I've seen the same kind of looking plugs as Deutsch plugs, but you can find them if you just look up JRReady, and you can get all kinds of different count connections. And I think they do have a 12-pin, which would have been nice, but I had 8 pins, so that's what I'm doing here. As I said, I did this one. This is my horn wires, and yeah, we'll roll with that. The good thing about these is you can pretty easily, you pull that green piece out, and then there's like little tabs. You just kind of hold down with a screwdriver, and these will pull back out very easily. But the way they are there, they are locked in. These are some really nice plugs. I do like them a lot. Better than what I have on the firewall right now. I think if that one gives me trouble, I saw these, and they actually have some that you can, with the flange on them, that will like let them bolt to a firewall. So I will have to get some heavier gauge ones if I go that route though. This is nice. So if you do like me and you mess up your plug, no big deal. Just buy you a new one, recrimp the ends. This crimper is great. I think it's, you can see there, it crimps. See, they come down all 4 sides. So it really does an excellent job crimping the wire on.